Hi everyone, today I'm going to show you how to make a scrolling background, and the plane in this will be scrolling horizontally. So let's start. To start with, the first thing I have did already is I've made the canvas 700 by 700 and I've changed the background color to blue, sky blue. And after that, the next thing I need to do is I will make the variable of cloud. So we have to make two things. First we have to make clouds, and then we have to make an aeroplane. Okay, so start with the clouds. So we make the cloud variable, and then we are going to call this variable inside our setup. And in the setup we are going to make the array of the clouds. The array of the clouds will hold the objects inside it, cloud objects, with its properties. So the first one, let's make, so the object will have the properties of x, axis of x, let's say is starting from -1000 off the screen. And you can see in the object we put a colon in the middle, and then we put a comma to continue, and then we have y, same way, colon, and then in the y direction it's at the height of 200, and then the width of 100, and the height of, let's say, 50. Okay, I'm going to tidy my code so that it comes in the shape where you can see easily. Okay, this is one of the clouds, and we have to make multiple of these, so we are going to copy this, and in the y direction, in the minus direction, we will be making 3 of the same. So now the thing to remember when we make the objects, that inside the array, that we have to put a comma after each object, and then at the end one we are not going to put any comma, you will see later. So let's do that first. So first one is at -1000, and the second one, let's say, as -300, and the third one is at -500. And in -300 the y position is 500, and the width is 150, and the height is 60. So we are just changing the details of it. So 200, 100, and let's change this height to 80. And the same way, now I'm going to make another one. So first I'm going to put a comma, and then I'm going to paste another one, and this one is going to be a positive one. So at a position of 100 we want our next cloud, and let's say the y position is 600, and the width is 150, and the height is 40. So now for the next time I'm going to copy this one, because now it's going to be in the positive. Again put a comma, then the next one, same position, 300, and then 200 this, and 100 this, and 50 this. So the number of clouds you want to make, you can make it by making the objects like this and putting it inside. So the next one is at 700, and say y position is 400. So we are making only subtle changes in these so that you can just make as many clouds as you want in this. So after 700, let's make it 1000, and then 100 position and 100 width and 100 height of 30, and then the next one should be just like that, another one. So let's make it in at 1600 position and 300 in the Y and 200 in the width and 80 in the height, and then we come to the last one, and this one we are going to make it at 2000. So I think that's enough of our one. So Y position is 500, this is 140, and the last height is 60. In the last of the objects we don't put at the end the comma, and that's it. That's our array of objects, which is the clouds. And then we are going to go into the function draw. So in the function draw, now we are going to call this object of clouds in that. So let's say clouds here, so we know that this is the cloud space. And then we are going to make a for loop, and the for loop is I is equals to 0 and I is less than clouds dot length I plus plus. And after doing that, inside it we are going to make the clouds the way it should be made. So we are giving the making the cloud here, and is positioning at different positions, and its height and width change, we are doing it in the array. So let's make the cloud, let's say it's of 255 white color, and we don't want any stroke, so let's say no stroke. So after doing these two things, now we are going to start making the cloud. So the clouds I'm going to make with the ellipses. So I'm going to make this ellipse, and I'm going to say that the clouds, and then in that clouds, from the clouds array, this for loop will traverse through and make the cloud, and it will take the X position of it, and then in the same way it will take the Y of it also. So I'm just copying it and will change the Y, and after that I'm going to say that gain is clouds width also, take it from there, and clouds height also, take it from there. So I did that at first, sorry, small h, and then what I'm going to do, that this first bit of the cloud should have the Y position a little bit higher, so should be -20, and in the width also needs to be a little bit less than the other parts of the cloud. So this is the first part of the cloud we have made. Now the second part of the cloud, so it will remain the same. So I'm going to copy this, make another piece of it. Now in this one I'm not going to change the Y, and I'm not going to change the width. What I'm going to change is the X position of it. So let's say 20 here, and then I'm going to copy this. This is the only change I'm going to make in the other two. So this is -20. Okay, now I will let it so that you can see clearly and properly that what I'm doing here. So as you can see in the function draw, I have the ellipse, 3 ellipses, and these 3 ellipses got the properties which are given in the array, and they will be arranged at different positions on the screen. So to see that, let's try that out. As you can see, there are multiple clouds you can see on the screen, but you cannot see all the clouds. We have made lots of them, but you cannot see right now all the clouds, but in a bit you will see. So the first thing which is in the background, the clouds are ready. Now the next thing we need to do is we need to make the scroll, the scrolling variable. So I will write that scroll, keeping the name as same as scroll so it's easy to understand. And then in the setup, I'm going to say that I'm going to initiate this scroll to 0. And the next thing I'm going to say is I'm going to go in the draw, and I'm going to put this cloud inside the push and pop first of all, because if we are going to make other things like airplane and things, then we need these things to be inside the push and pop so that they don't affect each other. So this goes inside the push and pop. Let's make this a little bit in so you can see properly. All is inside. Move this space as well. Right. So push and pop also done, and inside this push and pop and the clouds one, we are going to write translate. Translate will make the scroll screen move or translate in the horizontal direction or the vertical direction. So in this case we are moving horizontally. That means the scroll variable should go in the X position and the Y remains 0. So let's study the code and see what we have here. So now you can see here clearly. Okay, we have the translate, scroll, and 0 here. Now the next thing I need to do is to see make the aeroplane, and from the aeroplane we are going to be using other things which are going to move the screen. At this point we are not moving the screen as such. If we want to, we have to first make the condition, and first we have to make the aeroplane. So let's make that first. So we have to give the planes X and Y position. Plane X, so plane X is, let's say, is 200, and plane Y also at 200. So these two are done here, and after doing that, what we need to do is we need two things. Since we need the plane, we also need it to move in two directions, so it will move towards left or right. So let's make the variable of is left and that is right. So we have made the variable of is left and is right as well. So now let's start working on our next bit, which is the aeroplane. So for the aeroplane, what we need is we need to be remaining outside this push and pop. So I didn't write initiate these is left and is right in the function setup. So let's do that. That is left is equals to false at first and is right is equals to false also. So both are false to make the plane, and for the plane let's give it a color of red. Let's say 175 comma 0 comma 0. It will be a dark color of red. This we have done, and then we are going to make the ellipse. We are going to say that plane x comma plane y comma 150 comma 40. So plane x and y is this, it's the variable, and within height we have given ourselves, let's see, yes, you can see the plane body is here. Now the next bit of it is to make the arc for the tail. So the same thing we will take, and we will just make some changes in this, adjust it. So I'm going to take this just to be a little bit faster. So plane x, I'm going to add 55 to it because I want it to be on this side, and plane y -8, so it goes a little bit higher up, and then the y the width of it is, let's say 30 is there, and the height is 60, and then we have to give it the pi, which makes a upside down arc. So let's try that now. Now you can see this arc is quite good, and let's change the little bit less is too less, so 25, let's adjust it a bit so it's high enough, and 65, so it looks much more like a tail. Yeah, that's better. Okay, now after doing this we are going to make another arc, but for the two more arcs we are going to make, and we will give it a separate color. So let's say we are giving it 175, and we are going to take the same arc, and I'm going to paste it here. So this arc with the upside down one, I'm going to use it to make the wing on this side, upper side of the body. So this one will have plane x and -10, it increases, go up a bit, and in the y, let's say it's 20, and the width should be 30, and the height is going to be 70, and these two remains the same because there is no change in that. So you can see there is one wing up there. Now I need to make another arc, but this time the arc needs to be a bit lower down here close to the body. So I'm going to change this to half the size, -8, and then y, let's keep it at the origin of the ellipse like here, and then in the width also it remains the same as the last one, but in the height or increasing in this direction it should be 100, and this pi turns to upside down like a smiley face, 1 pi. So 0 first and then pi. So now let's see, we have the plane and with the wings and everything, and x can be a little bit 7. Let's see, is it no 7 a bit further away? Let's see, it's 9. Yeah, it seems to be more aligned than before. And let's make an ellipse, or we can leave it as well, and or we can make it as well. So let's think about it. If I make a corporate, oh, let's leave it right now. We just need to see the scrolling background, so this much is fine. Okay, now we have made the plane in one direction, which is the left. Now we have to make the plane in the opposite direction. For that, I need to copy the same code like this, and I need to put it here. The only thing I'm going to change is this tail. I'm going to just put it on this side. So for doing that, I just need to go here, and instead of plus 55, I'm going to say it's minus 55. Okay, when I do that, you can see two tails because there is no conditional which says that this state is different from this state. So let's say this is state 2, and let's say this one is state 1. Or let's say this is state 2 and this is state 1. Okay, now let's use the conditional to make it more proper. So if you remember, we have made the video is left and is right. So is left is equals to, now when it's true, then you show this state, else you show the state 1 all the time. So this is how we are going to do. So these are the two states. Now when I do that, you can see just one state because it's not in the other state right now. Okay, now this is done. Now we have to make the logic for it so that it, so let's say the logic of logic for scrolling, for scroll logic is, so in that we have to tell that if the plane is moving towards the left and the plane x position is towards less than the width, then you make the position of the plane here and keep scrolling the background, otherwise in the opposite direction. So if it's the plane is going towards the left, the background should move towards the right. So let's make this first one. So if is left, then and if plane's x position is is greater than the width times 0.2, so if you do that, and so plane x, now you move it to in the minus minus is equals to 5, and else what you need to do, else you need to scroll the background in the positive direction to 5. So you did that. This is the first thing you can do in this, and then the next thing is just the same. You're going to make another if statement. We just going to change the from is left to is right, and we are going to change the width is less than the width and 0.8, and plane x is positive and scroll is negative in this one when we are going towards right. And we did that. This logic is ready, both of them. So now when we use the keys, then it can move towards right and left, and the scrolling background will move in the opposite direction to it. So after that, now the next thing we have to do is to make the function key press. So in the function key press, again we will give the conditional. We will say that if key code, so we are just now defining the key, which keys we need to make the aeroplane move. So if the aeroplane, we want it to go to the left, so we will use the left arrow for that, and we will say that in this case is left is true. In the same way we will do for the right one also. Yes, I'm going to change the key code to right arrow, all capital, and this to right as well. Sorry. And then we are ready to move it to the right and the left. The only thing that when we release the key, it will stop, so we need the key release function also so that it doesn't stop. So we will do the same thing. That's why we copied the whole thing. We're just going to say key release, key when key code is left arrow, then make it false, and when right arrow, then make it false. So we do everything which we have done in the key press, the opposite. So is left, which is true in the key press, is going to be false in the key release. So after doing that, let's just try this out. So if I'm going right, you can see my plane is moving and my background is also scrolling, and all the clouds we have made is there. And the same way, when I move towards the left side, you can see my plane is moving to the left, and at a certain position it stops and the background keeps on scrolling, and it gives the illusion that the plane is still moving. So this is how you can make a scrolling, horizontally scrolling background, and your plane is also moving in that. And hope you enjoyed making this. Thanks for watching. Bye.